Today, I'd like to take you on a short journey through the history of Tibetan literature. In academic circles, Tibetan literature is often described mainly as spiritual writing, but in reality, it is much broader and much older than that. Tibetan literature began not in monasteries, but in everyday life, on the high-altitude Tibetan Plateau, where early human communities used words, rhythm, and storytelling to survive, remember, and celebrate. One of the earliest examples is the chant Kikisoso, Lagil Lo, a poetic cry used to celebrate success in hunting or victory over enemies. The phrase, victory to the gods, was likely added later, showing how belief systems evolved over time. This tells us something important. Tibetan literature began as poetry, closely tied to ritual, community, and survival. Broadly speaking, Tibetan literature exists in two forms, oral and written. Oral literature includes myths, songs, riddles, chants, and poems. Written literature includes poetry, history, biographies, drama, and philosophical or religious texts. These two forms have always influenced each other. In ancient times, oral literature was dominant. Myths explaining the origin of the world, or legends such as monkeys transforming into humans, were not just stories. They were early ways of thinking philosophically. Heroic epics were also passed down orally, most famously the Epic of King Geezer, now considered the longest heroic epic in the world. Folk songs and love songs, meanwhile, reveal a rich emotional life and powerful imagination within Tibetan society. Tibet's indigenous Bon religion played a crucial role in early written literature. Many Bon texts were preserved, some translated from the ancient Zhangzhung language, suggesting that Tibet had a written tradition even before the rise of Buddhism. A major turning point came during the Tibetan Empire in the 7th to 9th centuries. Under Emperor Sonsin Gampo, the scholar Thami Sambhoda created the simplified Tibetan script after studying Sanskrit. This made large-scale translation possible, especially of Indian Buddhist texts, which later formed the core of the Tibetan Buddhist canon. From the 10th century onward, Yungdrung Bon literature and Buddhist literature expanded rapidly. Biographies, philosophical works, and devotional poetry flourished. The meditation songs of masters like Milarepa are still read and sung today. By the mid-13th century, Tibetan literary theory also matured with the translation of the poetry mirror, leading to centuries of poetic scholarship. Court literature, drama, and Tibetan opera developed under later governments, while the great collections, the Kangyur and Tengyur, were finalized. Historically, Tibetan was a trans-regional literary language used across Central and Inner Asia. Today, Tibetan literature continues to evolve, including works written in Chinese, English, and other languages by Tibetan authors around the world. Tibetan literature is not only a spiritual tradition, it is a living record of history, imagination, and human experience. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next Wednesday.